Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video. The time has finally come. I am finally in my new house with my empty bookshelves, and in today's video we're gonna fill them and just generally get this book room sorted out. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff around me. I'm at the point now where the other spare bedroom is just full of boxes of books, so I can't get anything in there, so it feels like it makes sense finally today to fill up these bookshelves. I have really missed having my books out on display. For context, if you don't know, obviously we've moved, but our moving date kept changing, so my books have been packed up for around a month now, and I never realised how much I would miss them. Like, I know it sounds daft, but just the joy that I get from walking past and looking at my bookshelves is like unmatched. So I have not enjoyed having my books in boxes and not on display, so I am so excited to finally get these bookshelves sorted out today. I'll go over there in a minute and talk you through kind of what we've got going on, but I just want to do a quick disclaimer. I'm really sorry if you can hear road noise. From this room you can hear the road, and we currently don't have any curtains or blinds or anything that I can use to kind of help block out the sound. I am going to get curtains and blinds, and I'm also going to get a mic for this camera so that in future videos, like especially my more sit down videos, there shouldn't be road noise. So I'm really sorry if you can hear that, but there's unfortunately nothing I can do about it today. But today's video we're going to be over that side of the room quite a bit anyway, sorting out the bookshelves, and obviously a lot of the footage is gonna kind of have music over it, just with me doing the shelves anyway. So without further ado, I think let's pop over to the shelves. Let me show you what space we're working with here, and then we'll just crack on because I was so excited. So you can kind of see behind me we've got a little shelf here. Eventually I am going to replace this little shelf with one that's the same height as the others, another one of the skinny ones, but for now I've already got these little shelves. Moving house is expensive, so we're not going to buy those quite yet, but those will eventually. The little shelves will get moved elsewhere in the house, and that will be replaced with one of these tall skinny ones. And then same on the other side, you can just about see there's another short one that will also get replaced with a tall one. So we will have another 2 tall bookshelves in here eventually, but for now this is the space we're working with. So 2 small bookshelves, this middle skinny one, and then 2 of the big ones. These are all Billy bookcases from IKEA, just varying sizes of them. I have got quite a lot of Lego. I would like to get some Lego in here as well. You can see I've got Hogwarts on here because I think I'm going to put all my Harry Potter books on here. I just want to make a disclaimer about that. I owned all of my Harry Potter books and merch and everything before we knew about Little Miss JK, so I just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, I think I'm going to put my Harry Potter stuff on here. I might move Hogwarts down, I don't know. The books on the top of there are my monthly TBR. I'll probably end up moving those. Again, if I just spin around a sec, this is my hamster's cage. I am going to try and move this. So we will have the tops of these drawers. I don't know if you can quite tell, but there's 2 sets of drawers here. We will have the top of those to play with as well. So I think what will probably happen is a lot of my Lego will go on top of the drawers, and we'll have to save space on the bookshelves for the actual books, but we might pop a couple of bits of Lego on the shelves. I also haven't built all my Lego yet. I know I've got some Lego flowers that I need to build, so I think they could look cute on the shelves, but we'll have to add those another day. There'll definitely be a part 2 to this where we kind of update it when I get the new shelves, but for now I just really want to get some books on here. So without yet more further ado, I'm gonna go, because all the books are in the other spare room, I'm gonna go and open the boxes and just start bringing them in and just putting them in piles. The way I'm going to do this is, so in the old house I had a romance shelf, a fantasy shelf, and then the skinny one in the middle that was just like favourite books or books that I just kind of wanted to have a feature spot. I'm going to do it differently this time. I'm going to give it a go going across, so like romance, 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 fantasy, 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 all the way across rather than separate shelves. I'm quite lucky at the minute that I own a similar amount of fantasy and romance, so it did work fine having the 2 separate shelves. But I think I just want to give it a go going like across ways rather than separate shelves. I don't know. We'll give it a go. It might not work. I'm also going to try and categorise my romance books a bit more. They were a bit all over the place in the other house. So I'm going to try and do like sports romances together, small town romances together, etc, etc. So I'm going to go grab them and just start piling them up where I think I might want to put stuff. And then once we've done that, we'll actually get in there and start organising and making some nice book displays. I believe this is all my books. I may have missed a box somewhere. I'm going to do a quick run around the house in a sec and check that I haven't missed any boxes before I start organising. That one over there is empty, that little bookshelf. That's only because my dystopians are going to go on there and they're in a separate box anyway, and there's already enough stuff in here, so I'm just going to keep that empty for now. I have no idea how all of these are going to fit how I want them. I don't know if I like how I've categorised them, but basically along the top we've got just romances that don't necessarily fit into a category. Then underneath that over there we've got, I'm trying to point in the right place, right over there, Magnolia Parks and Taylor Jenkins Reid, Emily Henry and Addicted Calloway Sisters series, and then Small Town Romances. And then below that we've got sports romances, the Boys of Thomas series, all of Alice Osen's books, and then below that we move into fantasy. So as I said, I'm going to do a quick run round, check that I haven't missed any boxes of books. I pray not, because there's nowhere for them to go. And then we're going to start seeing if we can actually make this work. When we're doing this, I kind of need to bear in mind that I need to leave space, because as soon as I've read a book from the TBR cart, I keep them to one side until the end of the month and then I put them all on here. So like for example at the end of April, these books here, which I think I am going to move anyway, will have to find a place on the shelf. So I need to bear in mind, specifically when it's a series, like for example the Caraval series, I've read the first book, I plan to finish that series this month, so I need to make sure that when I put Caraval on the shelves there's space for the other two books because they need to go on there soon. So I think we're going to go over here and start on this side and maybe start from the top and see how we go. I honestly have no idea. Got two shelves left to do, so I'm going to do my Sarah J Maas shelf, and then I've got another fantasy shelf here to do, which I'm going to put quite a few like hardbacks and special editions on. So I'm going to crack on with these, and then I need food because I am starving, so I'm going to have some dinner, go for a walk, and then I'll give you a little overview of what we've done, but I'm not going to finish the room until tomorrow. I'm going to put it all in one video anyway, but I need my boyfriend to help me with the hamster cage. I've realised I actually cannot move that on my own. So we'll move that later, and then tomorrow I'll pop back in here, or I might just do it tonight and show you tomorrow when the lighting's better. I need to put like all my Lego out because so far I've only got Hogwarts out. I've not unpacked the rest of my Lego yet. But anyway, for now I'm going to do these two shelves, go get some dinner, and I will come back to you later on. The time has come. I think the room is as done as it's going to get for now. Obviously it's not like fully 100% done. I will end up moving things around and changing things, and I'll point out a few things that are slightly going to change. But as of actually getting the room set up how I kind of want it, we're pretty much there. So I'm going to spin you round. Obviously you can just see behind where I'm sat now, I've got a wardrobe and a bed. And then I'm going to spin the camera around because the bookshelves are on the wall currently in front of me. And I'm going to go through each shelf, talk you through why I've put things where I've put them, how I've tried to organise it. Again, there are a few things that you'll just kind of have to excuse that aren't perfect yet, but I think this is as good as we're going to get it for now. So without further ado, let's tour my new book room. Apologies if the camera moves a little bit just for some of this. My tripod isn't tall enough to have it on the floor and reach the top shelf, so I'm just quickly gonna cover the top ones and then I will put the tripod down. So on the left hand side at the top we've got romance books. Basically I didn't know how to categorise these. So on the left we've got a couple of indie books, so Punk 57 and Ivy by Will and Ash, and then we've got a couple of more like what I would categorise as like more realistic, kind of raw, basically not rom-com type romances. So Before We Were Strangers and Normal People. Then we've got Hooked and Scarred by Emily McIntyre. I am going to have to redo this shelf at some point soon because I am going to read the rest of that series, and there's another 4 books for me to read, I believe. So obviously we're going to need, you know, some kind of space to put those on there, but for now that's where they are. So all the ones that I've just said basically didn't come under a wider category, so they've ended up together. Then I've got my Lauren Asher books, then I've got my Ali Hazelwood books, then I've got 2 Christina Laurens, 1 Abby Jimenez, and then all of my Elena Armas books. So I basically just put books together by author and also kind of colour. Like obviously the colours aren't the same as the ones on the left hand side of the shelf, but I tried to categorise ones together that I thought would look good colour wise. I'm just going to go all along the top and then come back over to the left just so I can put the camera down. So in the middle there you can see I've got my red, white and royal blue copies. I will do some like zooming in shots that you'll be seeing of these shelves. I'm just kind of panning over them for now. And then I will go over to that shelf properly in a second, but they are the rest of my romances. We've got 2 special editions of red, white and royal blue, and then on the left just the standard paperback. I believe the special edition in front with the history t-shirt, I think that's a Luma crate. And then the one behind, I believe, was just like a general special edition. I think I got it from Amazon or something. And then this here is just the dust jacket for this Illuma Crate edition. Yeah, on this top shelf, I've got, again, kind of miscellaneous romances. So on the left, I put these ones together just purely because they look good. So I've got Savour It by Tara DeWitt. And then a couple of Hannah Bonham Young books, Out on a Limb and Out of the Woods. I've got Out of the Woods backwards because I really like the sprayed edges. Then I've got what I own of the Dream Harbour series. I probably won't buy the rest because I didn't love this series, but I like them enough and the covers are cute and I think they go nicely here. These are all kind of like small town cozy kind of romances, and then same here with When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. They're very small town, very cozy, so I just kind of put all of those together there. Then I've got my special edition of The Hating Game. No, I don't want to hear it that everyone hates this book. I like the book and I love this special edition of it. Obviously this is just with the naked hardback without the dust jacket on because I just think that looks really cute. And then over here we've got more miscellaneous romances that I thought went together. I didn't really have any way of separating these very clearly from the ones on the other top shelf. I just kind of went by vibes. So I've got my paperback copy of The Hating Game, and then most of these, or all of them, I believe, just looking at them, are YA, except Neon in Daylight. That's not, I believe, a YA book. The rest of these are just kind of YA romances that either are the first in a series and I don't know the rest of them, or they're standalones, or they are by Lynn Painter, because I felt like Lynn Painter's books just fit the best on this particular shelf. And then this is a McDonald's Happy Meal toy that my boyfriend got because it looks like me. And then I've just got a fake plant. And then on the red, white and royal blue shelf, I've just got a crown that I bought for a costume that I thought looked cute on that shelf. Okay, next, sorry for the weird camera angle. I've just put the tripod down, but it's still not quite tall enough, so I've had to tilt the camera up a little bit. Next, we've got my Magnolia Parks / Taylor Jenkins Reid shelf. I had to pop all of these together just for the sake of space, but as I said, I will be getting more shelves. So eventually when I get my shelves, I will separate these out and have a full Magnolia Park shelf and a full Taylor Jenkins Reid shelf. But for now, this is what we've got. So I've got my indie editions of Magnolia Parks first. Again, I will do some zoom in clips. Then I've got my standard versions of Magnolia Parks. On top of that, I've got a London Taxi because it's set in London. I've just got the paperback of Evelyn Hugo, and then 2 different size hardbacks for some reason. Malibu Rising and Carrie Soto, and then I've got the US hardback twice of Daisy Jones because I really love the US hardback of Daisy Jones in particular. Moving over again, in the middle here I have my Addicted Calloway Sisters series. I think what I'll probably do when I get the extra shelves is move these over, because the extra shelves will be on that side. I'll probably move these over to that edge and have this as the Taylor Jenkins Reid section, but for now we've got my Addicted Calloway Sisters series. I have the indie published version of the first one and then the standard paperbacks for the rest of them, so they don't quite match, but I think they look fine as they are. Then moving over here, I've got my Small Town Romance shelf. We've got these Small Town Romances, and then it kind of carries on down to here. So we've got my Elsie Silver books, which currently... Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, all the books on these shelves I have read. So all of my unread books are on my TBR cart, which I'll show you in a minute. Hence why there's like incomplete series and stuff on here, because I just haven't read them. So I've got Chestnut Springs, which I have read. And then Off to the Races. I've now read the first two in this series, Gold Rush Ranch, but I haven't read the others yet. So eventually we will have the whole Gold Rush Ranch series there. Then I've got Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. I have read the third one. The fourth one I believe comes out very soon. So again, eventually we will have all four. I don't know how I'll display them when I have all four, because I really do love the covers of these. So I think what I'll probably end up doing is maybe take the plant off that top shelf, shimmy this along, move some of the books from this shelf up here, and have a bit of a display of the Rebel Blue Ranch series down here, because I really do adore that series. And then moving across, I've got a couple of Mia Sheridan books, Archer's Voice and Travis. I am obsessed with Archer's Voice, it's such an amazing book. Then I've got the Knock 'Em Out trilogy by Lucy Score, and a special edition of A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. I unboxed this in my recent book haul and I am obsessed with this book. I love the book, but this edition of the book is just gorgeous. We've finally reached the point where I can actually put the camera down, so it should be more stable from here on out. So if we go over here to the left, you can see I've got my Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson. This is the only sci-fi series that I own, so it is just kind of there on its own. It doesn't necessarily fit next to the romance books, but it was the only real gap I had for it where I could kind of have it on display, because I do absolutely love this series and I think the books are literally stunning. So I wanted them somewhere you can see them. You'll see in a sec there was some space on the bottom shelf, but I didn't want them all the way down there. So there they are. And then we move across into sports romances. So the way I've tried to categorise the romance books is basically the ones along the top don't necessarily have a strict theme. I just wanted to keep authors together, but maybe that author doesn't always write the same. So like Ali Hazelwood doesn't always write the same genre, but I wanted to keep her books together, so they're up there. The second shelf, like this one you can see here with Magnolia Parks and then Addicted Calloway, is kind of more emotional romances, I would say, like that they're not just romance books. I mean, they kind of are, but do you know what I mean? They're like toxic, more emotional romances. And obviously we had the small town / cowboy romance shelf, and now we're on to sports romance. So on the left you can see I've got the Off Campus series by Elle Kennedy. We will have to make some more space on here somehow soon, because I will eventually read the Briar Youth series, which will need to go on here somewhere. But for now, we've got Off Campus. I've got a tiny mini version of The Legacy just next to it. You can see there. The reason these are out of order is because I have different editions. So I have the Bloom editions of The Deal, The Score and The Goal, but then I have the original version of The Mistake and The Legacy. So they're out of order, but we're just going to ignore it. Above that, I've got a couple of Becca Mack books. I think it's the Playing for Keeps series. I own the third one, but I haven't read it yet, so that will go on here as well when I have read it. Then I've got what is out so far. Oh, they're not in order. That's annoying. I will change those. I've got the Icebreaker, what's it called? Maple Hill series by Hannah Grace. Next to that, we've got the Windy City series by Liz Tomford. And then we move in to Mariana Zapata. So there's a bit of a deviation here. All Roads Lead Here is not a sports romance, but I didn't really want to put it anywhere else. It's definitely more of like a small town wilderness vibe, but I didn't really want to separate my Mariana Zapata book, so we're just gonna pretend and just leave it where it is. You'll see I've got a special edition of From Luke Off With Love. That is my favourite Mariana Zapata book. It's actually my favourite romance book ever of all time. So obviously we've got that Pride of Place front facing in the middle of the shelf. And then if we move across again, we've got some more kind of emotional romances, which again, these will get rejigged a bit when I have more shelf space, but I didn't have space to put them like up on this row with the other emotional romances. But also I wouldn't have been able to fit my cowboy and small town romances on this little shelf. So these are down here. And again, these will get separated when I've got more shelf space. I will probably have Emily Henry in a section and Boys of Tommen in their own section. all these will be moved to one of the longer shelves and have some of them displayed. But yeah, for now we've got the Boys of Tommen series, and then all of that I own of Emily Henry's books. And then I will move over, you can kind of get a sneak preview of what the next shelf is, but I will go move over there so you can see properly. Here we have my Alice Oseman shelf. On the left we've got all my editions of Heartstopper. Do I have an absurd amount? Kind of, but I also don't have all the editions of this that I want. But I've kind of banned myself now from buying anymore because it's just ridiculous. I do also want the Waterstones editions, but I just can't justify it. Like, it's quite clear that I already have enough editions of these. Then I've got Nick and Charlie. This was originally published just in America, I believe, but now I think you can get it here. I think these like more cartoony covers are being published now for a variety of Alice Oseman's novels. Next to that I've got 2 French special editions, like hardbacks with sprayed edges. Can I read or speak French? No. Do I own these anyway? Yes. And then I've got Alice Oseman's other books next to that, so her paperbacks that a lot of them are related to the Heartstopper universe, but a couple of them aren't. And then next to that I've got the yearbook and a couple of Heartstopper colouring books, which is very cute. And then you can see just over there, that is just my monthly TBR on there. So this will change every month what this looks like, and I think eventually I will move these elsewhere, but for now that's where we had space for them. Just to save me like keep moving back and forth, I am now going to start from this end and go that way. As you can see, this wall here is 2 different colours. I will eventually paint. You can, if I pick the camera up, it's been painted around wardrobes that used to be there, so I will paint that eventually, but just ignore that for now. So you can see here I've got a couple of Harry Potter shelves. We're just going to skim over those, but again, just want to clarify, I owned all of that stuff on there before everything came to light about JK Rowling, so we're going to quickly skirt on past those and get on to my other fantasy books. So we're now moving down into the fantasy / dystopia space. Again, I didn't really know how to categorise my fantasy books. I was going to do it a bit more like YA separate and then like adult separate, but I just kind of ended up going by vibe. So here on the right we've got my special editions of Once Upon a Broken Heart, the like naked hardback ones with the different things on each one. So you can see the book and the arrow, and then the ones underneath are the potion bottle and the fox. Next to that we've got the standard UK hardbacks of that series, but they are literally gorgeous, so I wanted them at least partially facing out. Then we've got the Divine Rivals duology, Letters of Enchantment, the standard UK hardbacks again, and then in the middle we've got the Fairy Loot edition of Ruthless Vows. I don't have the Fairy Loot edition of Divine Rivals because it's so beyond expensive to get it on resale. So for now we've just got the second one, and then on the left we've got Quicksilver. And then because I only have the paperbacks of Korrival, I didn't know where to put them. They don't really fit anywhere on this shelf. So I have just put that on there. I don't know how it's going to look when I put the rest of the series on. We'll have to see. I might have to move the Korrival series. But for now, that's where she's living. Then you can see here I've got my Shatter Me series. This is one of my favourite series of all time. I'm literally obsessed. I will eventually be getting a book stand. So this is the US cover with the like different writing. I want it actually to the side rather than leaning on here, but it's so floppy that it just falls over. So for now I've got it lent on there, but I do want to get some kind of nice book stand to pop that on, and also I want a couple of decorations for this shelf. You can see this one just looks a bit plain. Like, it looks fine in the context of the whole shelves because there's a lot going on elsewhere, but I do want to think of something Shatter Me related that I could potentially put somewhere on this shelf just to jazz it up a bit, because as I said, I do absolutely love this series, so it would be nice to have this as a bit more of a special shelf. Moving along straight next to the Shatter Me shelf, I'm really struggling to get this camera straight, so I do apologise that it's probably been wonky throughout all of these clips. I don't know how to get it straight. On the right we've got the anniversary editions of the Divergent series. I could not be more obsessed with these covers. Like, they did such a good job. The art on these is absolutely unreal. I'm so obsessed with them, and I'm so excited that now I've actually got them slightly forward facing, because I couldn't do that on my old shelves in the old house. So I'm very happy that these have now got a bit more of a special place on the shelves. And then next to that we've got the Hunger Games. I don't have any special editions of the Hunger Games because, to be honest, they've never released any that I have seen that I just really love. As soon as they do, I will buy them. But for now, I've just got the paperbacks that I've had since I was literally 12 years old of the Hunger Games. These were the ones that I read when I was in year 8 at school, and I'm now 26 years old. So you can see that they are battered, they have been dropped, they are quite ripped, but I will never get rid of these because I just love them. I've got a little fake plant, and then I've got a little pop of Katniss in the Girl on Fire dress. And then next to that on the left, they should probably be the other way round, it would make more sense, but it just looks better on the shelf for them to be here. I've got Battle of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the Reaping, and then next to that just a little movie companion book that went with the Hunger Games original movies that again I've had for a very long time. Spinning around next to that, we've got some other just general YA dystopias. So the Delirium trilogy by Lauren Oliver, I can't remember what the actual trilogy is called, but the first book is Delirium. Really underrated series, definitely very YA, not saying it's on the level of the Hunger Games, but a really good series, one of my favourites. Matched by Ali Conde. I never carried on with that series because I just didn't find it very original, but I also don't feel the need to get rid of it. Like, YA dystopia for me is so just nostalgic and just makes me so happy that I don't think I could ever get rid of any of my YA dystopia. Then I've got books 2 and 3 of the Chaos Walking trilogy. I don't have book 1 because I lent it out to a student whilst I was teaching, and I never got that back, which, like, by the way, I'm not complaining, like, it's literally fine. I'll probably just pick up another one at some point. I hope that she loved it so much that she wanted to keep it, so she can keep it. And then the, again, what's it called? Pretties, Uglies, Specials, Extras. I don't know what the series is called, by Scott Westerfeld. There is now a film. I don't think the film is very good. I think the books are far better. Not one of my favourite series ever, but good. And then next to that, I've just got my paperbacks, my original paperbacks of the Divergent series, and then The Gender Game by Bella Forrest, which I read the rest of them on Kindle Unlimited, but I bought a physical copy of the first one because I actually used it as part of my undergraduate dissertation. I am just going to do the bottom 2 shelves in one go so I don't have to, like, keep going back and forth. So I'm sorry that the lighting down here isn't quite as good. Obviously we are now, you know, near the floor. So on the left, I've got my adult dystopias. You can't quite see all of them, so let me just move the camera around a bit. I've got quite a few different adult dystopias, and then we do also have the Legend trilogy by Marie Lu, which is YA, but it wouldn't fit on the YA shelf, so it's just down here. But predominantly, they are adult dystopias. And then on the bottom, we have a real cacophony. So these will move. As I mentioned earlier, I will move these small shelves elsewhere in the house and replace them with tall, thin shelves. So when these move, obviously it means that these will be, like, I don't know how to explain what I mean. We're not just adding a shelf on top of here. We'll fully move these. So these books that are on the bottom, I'll have a lot more space to separate them out because I don't like how this is. I just literally don't have anywhere else to put them right now. So we've got my historical fiction on the left, and then we've got a few thrillers, and then My Dark Vanessa, which is general fiction, but I didn't have anywhere else to put it. I don't like that all of these genres are together on here. I much would prefer them to be separated out, so I will do that when I eventually get my extra shelf space. Just going back up here, we've got Reckless, Powerless, Powerful, whatever the series is called, by Lauren Roberts. The next one is now out, but they've only released it, to my knowledge, in hardback. I don't want the hardback, so I'm going to listen to that on audio, and we will eventually get the paperback and slot it in that little gap there. Then we've got Emily Wilde. I love this trilogy, it's so good. Again, the third one is currently only out in hardback, which I don't want, so we will eventually get the third one and do some kind of little display with it on here. And then I love how the plant from the shelf above comes down next to, like, the Emily Wilde books, because it's so focused on, like, plants, and I think it really matches the cover. If I just scoot those to one side for a second, we've got These Violent Delights, Our Violent Ends, and Foul Lady Fortune, all by Chloe Gong. I do own the rest of the series, I just haven't read it yet, but I plan to do so very soon. So again, we will add those on somehow with all the space that I don't have. Then the Shaman Born series by Laurie M. Lee. Again, I'm just finishing up the third one, so I've left a little gap to pop that one in when I have finished it just here. And then my beloved, we've got the Cruel Prince trilogy, and then The Stolen Heir and The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. Definitely don't love these two, we just kind of pretend that they don't exist, but I love the original trilogy. And then moving down onto the bottom, next to the kind of miscellaneous books, we have more miscellaneous. We've got 3 Dark Academias that don't fit anywhere else, the Atlas 6, If We Were Villains, and Ace of Spades. And then we're back into fantasy. So I've got all of my Leigh Bardugo books, the Shadow and Bone trilogy and the Six of Crows duology. Again, I do own King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, just haven't read them yet. This stack here is books that are part of a series, but I only own the first one in a series. So for now, they're just all in a stack together until I decide either to unhaul them or to get the rest of the series if I end up reading them. Then Dance of Thieves duology, and then a random copy of City of Bones. Eventually I am going to buy Cassandra Clare Shadowhunters universe. I just haven't got around to it yet. So obviously when that happens they will need their own shelf because there are like 20 books or something ridiculous of those. So I'm just not going to buy them yet because I don't have the space. But we're kind of honouring Cassandra Clare for now by having this random copy of City of Bones. And then the Shadowhunters Codex next to that as well. Moving along, next to the Cruel Prince, we've got ACOTAR and 2 random ex-library copies of the Throne of Glass series, but not even the first 2 books of the Throne of Glass series, Crown of Midnight and Heir of Fire. And then below that, this was the empty shelf where I could have put Skyward, but I just didn't really want it on the floor. So for now, I don't need this shelf. It's kind of a holding shelf with an Illumicrate box and a Fairy Loot box on. Eventually there will be books here, but it just didn't make sense. Like, I could have put either my thrillers here or my historical fictions, but on either side of the shelf is fantasy. So I just didn't really want to break up the fantasy. It just felt like, I don't know, it felt like it didn't make sense in my brain. So eventually there will be more fantasy books here when I get them. What will probably happen is I'll probably shuffle some of the ones from the other shelves onto here and then make one of the shelves a Cassandra Clare shelf. And as you can see, just leading on from ACOTAR, so the ACOTAR shelf is just here. We've got the rest of my Sarah J Maas books. So we've got the Crescent City trilogy. I was debating whether to display these or not because I think the covers of these are stunning. I think what I'll end up doing when the mood strikes is switch between having these books here, the Throne of Glass series displayed, and having these displayed. So I'll just like put these spine out and display these and just keep swapping them whenever I feel like it. And then we've just got, as I mentioned, the UK standard paperbacks of Throne of Glass. I'm not obsessed with these. The reason I wanted them facing out, and I would like them to be more facing out than they are because I know you can't really see them, I just don't have space. Eventually I'll probably put what is it called, Crescent City, on its own little shelf when I get more space, like one of the mini shelves like ACOTAR is on, and have just a Throne of Glass shelf so I can actually display these properly. But anyway, what I was saying is I think the spines of these are really boring. So I wanted at least a glimpse of the covers to be on display because I think the covers are much nicer than the spines are. Finally, down at the bottom we've got some more fantasy books. So I've got my Empyrean series that even talks to me about Onyx Storm because it'll start an argument because I really didn't like it. Then I wish these were higher up. Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust. These are stunning and these will be like one of the first when I get more space to be moved off the shelf and be displayed. Same with Night Circus and Addie LaRue. I love those books. They're some of my favourites. There's just no real place for me to display them. So when I zoom back out, I will show you where the new shelves will go and what I'm thinking. For now, they are begrudgingly down here. Then we've got the 5th season, what's it called? Broken Earth. The Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. And then my random copies of The Hobbit. And then the first 2 Lord of the Rings books. I haven't read the 3rd one yet, but obviously when I do, it will add on there as well. And they are my bookshelves. So what I'm trying to explain with the new shelves is where these small bookshelves are, these will be replaced with, you see this one in the middle, the thin tall one. So I'm going to get another 2 thin tall ones and put them here and here. So we'll have extra, like 3 extra shelves here. But I'm also going to keep the small ones and move them elsewhere. So even though now it only looks like we'll have 3 extra shelves, we won't. We'll have 6 extra ones going in here. And then I'll be able to move some of the books off the small ones onto the 6 ones. And then spread some of the ones on the small ones out. Hope that makes literally any semblance of sense at all. I just wanted to show you this area is very much a work in progress. There's like blue tack, a broken coat hanger and a pile of random Lego. This will be the Lego area. So for now these aren't all of my sets, these are just what I've set up so far. So we've got a few Harry Potter ones over there. I tend to get these second hand. You can get quite a lot of these second hand either on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. This one was particularly a bargain that I managed to get second hand. Next to that I have my Animal Crossing Lego. I do have more sets of this to build. I have the Celeste one and the airport, I believe, that I still need to build. I am going to move these into the other spare room and do like a little Animal Crossing display with my like Switch games and do a little like Nintendo kind of vibe. But for now, Marshall is here with his little friend whose name I can't remember on the boat and his fish that he has caught. Now that concludes the tour of this room. Again, it's not done. You know, we need to paint the wall, sort the Lego out, get the new shelves. So there will be a little update part 2 to this at some point. But for now, this is the book room. I am so excited. I'm so happy with how these shelves turned out. Obviously, there's a few things I want to change. There's a few books that I want to be a bit more on display. But as a whole, I am so happy with how these shelves turned out. I'm also obsessed with how it looks in here in the evening because I've put fairy lights around the shelves. I will overlay a clip now of what this room looks like in the evening with the fairy lights on. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sorry if you can hear the car noises. I am going to get a microphone so that we can drown out some of the traffic noise. But thank you for bearing with that in this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!